The four stone statues suddenly awakened, their ancient eyes containing an unfathomable power. They all fixed their gaze on Xiao Yan, as if mocking his overconfidence. What Xiao Yan didn't notice was that, though the statues were made entirely of stone, there was a faint black pattern swirling in their throats. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered. He had no idea why the four statues had activated ahead of time, but he didn't have time to think. The power of reincarnation within him surged through his veins and limbs like a flood, with both his soul force and mental power erupting together. The stone statues, though surrounded by solid stone, did not possess much strength individually. However, when they worked together, they seemed to wield a strange force powerful enough to threaten Xiao Yan's life. This force made Xiao Yan take them seriously. Die! The statue's eyes reflected Xiao Yan's figure. In the next moment, brilliant light flickered from their hands, and they conjured weapons. Swords, blades, crossbows, and shields, glimmering with faint, eerie black light. The weapons all emanated a slight, almost imperceptible black glow, a force so intangible that without Xiao Yan's soul power and sacred flame, he might not have even noticed it. What is going on? Yuru, too, was caught off guard by this sudden scene. Looking at Xiao Yan trapped on the circular platform, she quickly called out, "Someone's here." Yun furrowed her brows. A sacred flame flower bloomed around her, and she silently retreated from the grand hall, seemingly trying to track some mysterious figure. Boom! As soon as the four statues awakened, they launched a devastating assault on Xiao Yan. Their bodies, like walls of copper and iron, radiated immense power. With their weapons in hand, they attacked relentlessly, sending waves of vicious energy at Xiao Yan. The sheer force of the attack left him struggling. Facing the statue's strikes, especially after the appearance of the black light, Xiao Yan's soul force and sacred flame power were restricted. It was an extremely bizarre phenomenon. Dragon God transformation. Under such immense pressure, Xiao Yan finally unleashed the Dragon God transformation. The green dragon scales surged, covering most of his body. A heavy, oppressive aura radiated from him, and ripples of water-like energy surrounded him, resisting the statue's attacks. Bang! 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 Despite the enhancement of Dragon God transformation, Yuru and the Hellfire Slave did not act rashly. Xiao Yan was trapped on the circular platform, unable to move. If they rushed in carelessly, they might inadvertently hinder him. Even with the Dragon God transformation, when faced with the statue's nearly flawless attacks, the green dragon scales on Xiao Yan's body flickered with faint light. The immense power of the Baxia dragon scales rippled out, dissipating the attacks entirely. However, Xiao Yan's face grew pale. The enormous consumption of reincarnation power within him was taking its toll. With such an overloaded power supply, even Xiao Yan was starting to feel the strain. I can't keep defending passively. Having been on the defensive for so long, Xiao Yan felt a sharp, reddening pain on his skin. Clearly, if this continued, the Baxia dragon scales on his body would soon be destroyed. His eyes flashed with killing intent. In the next moment, Xiao Yan took a step forward, releasing his clenched fist. A clear, resonating dragon's roar echoed throughout the grand hall as his palm transformed into a claw, a green dragon claw imbued with glazed flame, striking fiercely at the chest of one of the statues. Whoosh! Whoosh! The powerful attack made the entire hall tremble. Even the heaven-stabilizing divine needle inside the protective barrier emitted waves of disturbance. Bang! 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 The dragon god claw struck the statue's chest without fail. The explosive sound rang out, but the statue showed no signs of injury. Only a layer of ancient copper-colored dust fell away. Even after facing such a terrifying blow from Xiao Yan, the statue showed no visible damage. Its eyes glinted with a chilling, eerie smile, as its internal power surged to its limit, as if it were a bloodthirsty beast, willing to risk its life in exchange for Xiao Yan's. The statue's eyes flickered with murderous intent, and it swung its long sword with a sharp wind, aiming directly at Xiao Yan's head, so close that it seemed to be striking down at him. What are these guys? The circular platform was small, leaving Xiao Yan with very little room to dodge. But just as he attempted to avoid the attack, he noticed the black patterns around the statue's neck. These statues are dead? Could their weakness be there? Buzz. While Xiao Yan was puzzled about why the statues could resist his dragon god claw enhanced by the sacred flame, the 4 statues suddenly closed in, their weapons stabbing forward in unison. Inside the black prison, the cage was covered in thorny black spikes. As the sharp thorns grazed the dragon scales on Xiao Yan's body, a chilling sense of horror suddenly surged through him. In an instant, the flame mantra within Xiao Yan's body went out of control, surging like a wild stallion. The technique's fiery energy coursed through his limbs and bones, and a low growl escaped his throat. Within Xiao Yan's body, the sound of explosive flames rang out. Then, a streak of 6-colored fire shot out like a meteor, heading straight for the black prison. The 6-colored fire, amplified and enhanced by the flame mantra, was incredibly powerful. Upon contact with the black prison, it immediately crackled and burned, rapidly consuming the eerie structure. In the blink of an eye, a foul stench filled the hall. Anything touched by this foul black mist was instantly devoured. Even the toughest materials were reduced to dust. "Don't breathe in that stench." Xiao Yan suddenly realized and shouted at Yuru. Boom! Before Yuru could respond, a violent surge of energy erupted from above the hall. "Heh, little beauty. Why bother wasting your time on me?" A voice, dripping with malice, echoed from above the hall. "There are plenty of treasures in this place. Instead of wasting time on me, you should go look for them. I remember we agreed to keep our distance. Did you cause that noise just now?" The voice continued. 6 realms experts are gathered here, but I don't recall you being one of them. Who exactly are you?" Yun's body burned with sacred flame as the flower spirit perched on her shoulder. Her gaze was solemn as she fixed her eyes on the figure. It was only after receiving a warning from the flower spirit that she had sensed this figure's presence, one that was cloaked in a highly concealed aura. However, the energy emanating from him was unlike anything she had encountered before, even causing the sacred flame to react with a deep sense of repulsion. "Who am I?" The blood mist figure sneered, as if resigned to the situation. "I don't even know myself. Once you're in my hands, we'll have countless ways to make you talk. Let's see if you have the ability to do that." The blood mist figure sneered, and then, his form strangely vanished, seemingly merging into the void above the hall. Disappeared? Yun's sacred flame flared, sensing the danger, and she quickly shielded herself in a burst of intense light. Boom! Before Yun could even process what was happening, a towering, brutal aura swept through the entire hall in an instant. This aura was many times stronger than any bloodthirsty beast, sending even figures at the second reincarnation stage into a state of panic. The entire hall, situated at the bottom of the reincarnation pond, was isolated from the rest of the world by an unknown force in the lake's waters. The blood mist surged, revealing the figure of a young man. He slowly opened his blood-red eyes, which gleamed with a sinister killing intent. His appearance was chilling, and his blood-red robe radiated an aura so terrifying that even Yun felt an unprecedented tremor in her soul as she locked eyes with it. It felt as if the robe carried a suffocating, ominous force that could turn anyone into a mere ghost with a single misstep. An outsider from beyond the realms? Xiao Yan's figure suddenly appeared above the hall. His gaze was indifferent as he looked at the young man. When did such beings find it so easy to enter our great thousand worlds? You think this place belongs only to you? The young man sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. The great thousand worlds is not yours alone. The strong take what they want. Xiao Yan easily saw through the blood-robed youth's identity. Surprisingly, the youth did not seem shocked, though he did gaze at Xiao Yan with some astonishment. From Xiao Yan, the youth sensed an extremely terrifying aura. It was clear that even among the extraterritorial evil clan, Xiao Yan was widely known. His various identities, such as being a wielder of the sacred flame and a descendant of the Xiao clan, all pointed to Xiao Yan's status and power being well known throughout the clan. Attack! As soon as the command was given, Xiao Yan, Yun, Yuru, and the Hellfire Slave all struck at once. Their overwhelming aura immediately sealed off all possible escape routes for the blood-robed youth. From his expression, it seemed they intended to capture him as quickly as possible. Crimson killing intent spread from the blood-robed youth, surrounding him and further amplifying his cold, malevolent presence. Boom! For powerful energy attacks were launched simultaneously, slamming violently toward the blood-robed youth. The blood-robed youth gritted his teeth. The force of these powerful attacks surged inside him, but with his cultivation still at the threefold reincarnation stage, he was naturally unable to withstand the combined might of the four. It seems I'll have to go to my destination first. The exposure of the situation at the Immortal Realm Center has already upset the evil gods a little. If something goes wrong this time, the consequences will be unthinkable. The blood-robed youth murmured inwardly, his gaze locked fiercely on the four, his murderous intent barely concealed. Blood Sky Emperor's shadow. The blood-robed youth's eyes suddenly turned savage. Stepping forward, his blood-red robe surged with waves of extreme evil energy. A powerful, faintly visible shadow materialized behind him. Evil God stage? Fall back. Though the figure before him was just a shadow, Xiao Yan still felt a terrifying sense of fear from it. Die. The massive evil shadow was surrounded by endless killing energy. Its 5 fingers clenched tightly, and a fist was thrown toward Xiao Yan and the others. As the punch was thrown, it was as if a sea of blood was churning. The overwhelming pressure caused the faces of the three to darken. After a simple strike, the blood-robed youth's body instantly vanished, and the entire hall fell back into silence. Are you all right? Once the battle ended, Xiao Yan quickly turned to check on the 2 women by his side, though his energy felt drained after dealing with the previous opponent. We're fine, but that guy just now? Yun shook her head, clearly puzzled about the origin and intentions of the blood-robed youth. The blood robe he wore is likely a form of evil artifact from the extraterritorial evil clan. It can block some of the forces within this cave, which is why he could enter. Moreover, it seems that something inside him resonated with the powers in this cave. The extraterritorial evil clan truly is a group of unrelenting souls, Xiao Yan muttered with narrowed eyes, feeling uneasy about what had just happened. All right, let's gather the heavenly needle of heaven stabilizing first. That item belongs to your immortal realm, and I suspect only you know how to collect it. With that, the group returned to the hall. Inside the dilapidated hall, Yuru wielded the Moon God Sword, and Yun held the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword. The 2 women stood on opposite sides of a glowing shield, continually channeling pure energy into it. It seemed they were nurturing the divine artifact. Once the artifact was sufficiently tempered, they would immediately take it. I wonder if the so-called Heavenly Needle really holds the terrifying power to define rules as legend has it. Watching the 2 women grow more precise in their actions, it seemed it was only a matter of time before the divine artifact was gathered. Xiao Yan couldn't help but smile. Vroom vroom vroom. At that moment, a thunderous roar rang out across the entire palace complex. As the massive sound reverberated, something hidden deep within Xiao Yan's body seemed to erupt with an unprecedented fervor. Focusing closely, Xiao Yan's eyes also filled with an extreme fiery glow. The source of the disturbance was a fragment of the Heavenly Tao reincarnation flame map that had been dormant within him. What's going on? Sensing this strange occurrence, Xiao Yan's heart was jolted. The fragment of the Heavenly Tao reincarnation flame was an extremely precious relic, left behind by a powerful ancestor of the Xiao clan. It was of great importance. Without time to think, Xiao Yan's figure surged toward the hall's upper reaches. His gaze swept across, and he saw waves of intense energy continuously emanating from the center of the palace. Several powerful auras were rapidly converging on that spot, as if something there was attracting all of them, a treasure that could captivate everyone. The fragment must be obtained. Although Xiao Yan wasn't sure of the fragment's exact significance, his instincts told him that it was undoubtedly related to the Heavenly Tao reincarnation flame. Xiao Yan always felt that there might be some connection between the Xiao clan and the Heavenly Tao reincarnation flame. Coupled with the evil figure he had encountered earlier, this trip to the cave seemed far from simple. Let's go. When Xiao Yan spoke with such a serious expression, the two graceful figures below also surged forward. They had sensed the solemn look on Xiao Yan's face and quietly stood beside him, their gazes fixed on the center of the palace complex. Figures surged forward like lightning, creating a fierce gust of wind that made people feel the pressure. Where's the divine artifact? Xiao Yan turned back, noticing that the protective light barrier in the ruined hall had shattered, and the divine artifact inside had disappeared without a trace. It's been collected. Now, let's see what kind of existence this so-called Six Paths reincarnation immortal really is. Let's go. After they spoke, the three of them headed toward the center, with the Hellfire Slave hidden in Xiao Yan's sacred flame space. To Xiao Yan, this creature was a powerful trump card. Its sudden intervention could have a surprising effect. The only drawback was that the Hellfire Slave seemed restricted by the cave's boundaries and could not leave. The three of them surged forward, not stopping to collect any treasures despite the many items scattered throughout the palace complex. All their attention was focused on reaching the palace's center. An ancient aura seemed to swirl like dust, and the view ahead suddenly cleared. A faint but oppressive force from heaven and earth, along with intense heat, hit them, slowing their pace. Looking up, they saw that they had arrived at the core of the palace complex. Numerous interconnected passageways surrounded the area, and the grand hall stood intact. At this moment, several auras had gathered around the hall, but no one dared to approach the palace's main gate. Even the Nether Sea Dragon Serpent, the Myriad Venom Goo Maiden, and Tang Feng, the three powerful figures, stood silently at one side of the hall, staring intently at the building. This hall, compared to the rest, was by far the most magnificent. A single glance made their internal auras surge with power. Since we're here, let's take action. No one knew who spoke first, but at once, about 10 powerful figures moved in unison, launching extremely powerful attacks at the ancient palace door. This aura feels off, Xiao Yan muttered as the three of them arrived late. They did not strike but, from the terrifying attacks, saw the scorching fire waves emanating from the palace door. Boom! The silver palace door trembled under the barrage of attacks and seemed on the verge of collapsing. Moments later, cracks started to form with a series of loud noises. Bang! A burst of orange-gold light suddenly erupted from the shattered doorway, accompanied by a vast aura that swept across like the wrath of heaven, causing a chill to run through the hearts of the onlookers. This overwhelming power, if it were to land on them, would surely result in serious injury, if not death. Charge! As the door shattered, intense excitement and greed flashed in the eyes of the crowd. The palace seemed to be the entrance to the true main hall. This is a weapon vault? Upon entering the palace, they could see weapons of all kinds, gleaming with a faint ghostly light, hanging on the walls and even embedded in the floor. Swords, spears, blades, armor, countless items, all covered in dust but still radiating an astonishing cold gleam. These weapons were far from ordinary. Though they might not compare to the divine artifacts of the great Thousand Worlds, they possessed special powers. The entire hall was vast and empty, with only the weapons placed neatly, giving the place a somewhat barren and silent feel. What's going on here? Looking at the scattered strange weapons, Xiao Yan turned to the Hellfire Slave and asked. Despite their value, no one made a move. Over there. Tang Feng's lips curled into a cold smile, and he suddenly pointed toward the center of the hall, where a red light shield was faintly visible. Inside the shield, 5 weapons slowly rotated, each gleaming with bright, radiant light, signaling their impressive power. 5 divine weapons? The crowd stood stunned at the sight. Of the 108 divine weapons in the Great Thousand Worlds, it was unthinkable that 5 would appear here. The collection of the Six Paths Reincarnation Immortal was truly extravagant. Strange, why is Tang Feng deliberately drawing attention, and his target doesn't seem to be the weapons? Xiao Yan's powerful spiritual sense remained focused on Tang Feng, knowing that among everyone present, only he posed a significant threat. What is that? A hole? The faint hole seemed to form some mysterious arrangement, and upon closer inspection, it was not hard to notice that they were exactly the same as the 5 immortal artifacts slowly rotating within the light shield. Only by obtaining these weapons can one have the chance to enter the main hall of the 6 Paths Reincarnation Immortal. A mad glint surged in Tang Feng's eyes, and the power of reincarnation within his body grew even more intense. Everyone's gaze was filled with a fervent madness, clearly stirred by Tang Feng's words, causing their hearts to race. Only by obtaining those 5 immortal artifacts could one gain access to the main hall. It was clear that a fierce battle was about to break out among the 10 or so people present, all of whom would stop at nothing to seize these treasures. Xiao Yan, we? Yun hurriedly spoke as she gazed at the tense situation in the hall. She knew the importance of the sacred flame to Xiao Yan, and her heart grew anxious. After all, no one here was easy to deal with. Tang Feng's behavior is just bluffing. Something's not right. Xiao Yan remained still, his gaze sweeping over the palace with his spiritual power, probing its secrets. When he looked up, he saw an obscure star chart. The vast starry sky appeared, hanging directly above the light pillar. On the star chart, the depth was endless, and even a strange half-remaining fragment of the chart appeared in his view. It seemed that the star chart concealed a fragment that was merely an ordinary remnant. The remaining half of the chart is here? As Xiao Yan's gaze fixed on the star chart, the remaining fragment of the diagram regarding the heavenly Tao reincarnation flame within his body emitted an unprecedented, intense aura. Charge! Boom, boom, boom. Endless waves of battle energy surged throughout the entire hall. The 5 keys suspended within the light pillar, the immortal artifacts essential for entering the main hall, were enough to drive everyone here into a frenzy. What a bunch of fools. Seeing this, Tang Feng smirked, then moved like a ghost. Some powerful treasures within his body were summoned, gradually approaching the star chart at the top of the light pillar. Tang Feng's movements naturally went unnoticed by the other powerful figures. In the spacious weapons storage hall, fierce attacks had already begun to rain down. Though the light pillar hadn't shattered completely, if they could drive the other powerful figures away before it did, it would be a huge advantage for the remaining ones. Xiao Yan, if we don't make a move now? Seeing the intense clashes unfolding, Yuru furrowed her brows and urged. Since Xiao Yan had helped her retrieve the heavenly stabilizing divine needle, she didn't want to owe him anything. She was determined to help him to the best of her ability. Xiao Yan remained silent, not moving. His internal changes and Tang Feng's actions clearly indicated that he was weighing something. The 5 immortal artifacts, protected by the sturdy and powerful light pillar, would take considerable time to break through, even if they worked together. And with everyone fighting fiercely to eliminate the weaker competitors, it would only take more time. For Xiao Yan, the 5 keys to the main hall were undeniably attractive, but they were only secondary. His real goal was the heavenly Tao reincarnation flame. Did you see the star chart at the top of the light pillar? Keep an eye on Tang Feng. Xiao Yan's gaze sharpened as he observed the light pillar, unmoving despite the intense energy attacks from everyone. His heart unconsciously began to race. The 2 fragments of the chart were undoubtedly the key to whether he could acquire the heavenly Tao reincarnation flame, and the missing half in the star chart was the other piece. Why? Why aren't you going for the main hall keys? Why go after something so trivial? Don't you want the sacred flame? Yuru's eyes suddenly filled with rare stubbornness as she questioned Xiao Yan. Since they had no future together, she didn't want to owe him anything. But Xiao Yan's behavior, letting the keys to the main hall slip away, was incomprehensible, especially when he was giving up the sacred flame. Trust him. Yun didn't speak, but as she saw the star chart, an ancient aura surged within her. That strange feeling was like something she had encountered before. For the power of Hua Qing'er's inheritance to radiate this kind of fluctuation, the star chart certainly contained some extremely precious treasure. Moreover, Yun knew Xiao Yan well. The reason he was ignoring the 5 keys to the main hall was likely that there was something even more valuable. Don't worry. Xiao Yan didn't speak, but instead began to channel both his spiritual and mental powers, combining them with the Array Master's unique energy. A faint, ethereal aura gradually spread, surrounding the entire palace complex, as if he were preparing something. This time, he could not afford to miss the remaining fragment of the chart. Tang Feng touched the top of the light pillar and immediately assumed a calm demeanor. He extended his hand gently, but as his palm made contact with the star map, it seemed as though space itself was severed. A strange force transmitted from the star map. Whoosh whoosh. In an instant, without time to think, a fiery orange-golden fox suddenly surged out of the star map, landing directly on Tang Feng without any warning. Swish swish. A chilling, deathly aura spread from the depths of his heart, sending a tingling sensation throughout his scalp. Tang Feng's body trembled violently, and all the power within him seemed to burn furiously at that moment. After a moment, he gasped heavily in midair, flinging the fiery fox into the light pillar. The fluctuation was unmistakably from the sacred flame fire fox. Even just a trace of the sacred flame fire fox nearly left Tang Feng severely injured. Such power was too profound and overwhelming. Inside the hall, the attacking energy raged uncontrollably, yet it had no effect on the light pillar. 5 immortal artifacts slowly rotated above the light pillar, and the surrounding energy waves surged violently, a terrifying sight to behold. However, when Tang Feng flung that sliver of the fire fox into the light pillar, the ancient light pillar, which had always radiated brilliantly, quickly dimmed like a withering oil lamp. At that moment, all the combatants stopped their movements. Their hearts tightened, and their eyes were fixed on the light pillar as it slowly faded, an expression of madness beginning to show on their faces. Crack! A faint crack appeared on the surface of the light pillar, and after a brief moment, a series of horrifying breaking sounds echoed. Boom! The light pillar shattered, transforming into a curtain of light that fell from the sky, carrying an ancient and heavy aura, scattering violently. Without the protection of the light pillar, the 5 immortal artifact keys were now exposed, suspended high in the hall. Boom, boom, boom. At the moment the light pillar shattered, dozens of powerful figures were overwhelmed by an insatiable greed. They leaped into the air with the force of thunder, attempting to seize the 5 immortal artifacts suspended in the sky. Those artifacts were the core items to enter the 6 Paths Reincarnation Immortal Master's main hall, enough to stir a bloodbath. This is mine. Get lost. Only the strong can claim it. Roars and growls rang out, accompanied by ear-splitting bursts of violent energy. Go! Xiao Yan spoke, and the 3 figures immediately surged into the air above the hall, directly under the star map's position. Xiao Yan, you're a fool to ignore the immortal artifact key to enter the cave and instead go after this, a voice scoffed. Surrounded on all sides by Xiao Yan and his 2 companions, Tang Feng slowly adjusted his clothing, seemingly hiding something, with his tone and movements flowing naturally. Hand it over. Xiao Yan's gaze and spiritual power spread outward, only to find that the star map had already become completely ordinary, and the remnants of the map had mysteriously vanished. His eyes instantly filled with an icy, terrifying killing intent. I have no idea what you're talking about, Tang Feng replied helplessly, shaking his head, but his eyes slowly darted around, as though calculating an escape route. Don't test my limited patience. From Xiao Yan's chest, a burst of glass-colored sacred flame emerged, his eyes narrowing as immense divine fire suppressed Tang Feng like shackles. Xiao Yan didn't act hastily, knowing that doing so would attract the attention of the many powerful figures below. Otherwise, boom! A grayish smoke suddenly dispersed from Tang Feng's body, and in an instant, his figure vanished from the hall, dashing toward the outer palace clusters. Xiao Yan, I'll be taking that. No need to be polite, came a booming laugh. Tang Feng's figure darted away like a flash of lightning, quickly disappearing from sight. What now? The smoke contained a strange energy that interfered with the spiritual powers of those nearby. By the time the smoke cleared, Tang Feng was already gone. Yu and Yun exchanged glances, a sense of urgency filling their eyes. To be on the safe side, we'll stay here and grab one of the keys. Xiao Yan, you go ahead, Yun said, suddenly realizing something. She looked at the chaotic scene in the hall, her silver teeth clenched. Fine. Xiao Yan nodded at the two women, and they separated to act. The hall descended into chaos, but Xiao Yan was confident that both women carried divine artifacts, so dealing with the situation would be no problem. Boom, boom. Xiao Yan's figure disappeared into nothingness, and in an instant, the entire space around the palace complex began to warp. A powerful, overwhelming force, as though the heavens themselves were enraged, spread like a fiery wrath, distorting the air across the entire palace complex. What is this power? This isn't recorded in the ancient texts. The void shifted, and from it emerged bizarre worlds, each carrying with it an intense and searing heat. Within these worlds, mountain cliffs erupted, trees growing wildly, creating a scene of tranquil beauty, reminiscent of a paradise untouched by time. Little pest, stop playing tricks here. Get out here now. Tang Feng's body surged with energy, and in an instant, he arrived at the top of a cliff. His gaze swept the horizon, only to notice a faint yet powerful pressure in the void above the cliff. It was the pressure of a soul. Hand over that fragment of the map. Xiao Yan's voice suddenly echoed through the world, a vast and holy aura slowly shaking Tang Feng's spirit. Soul power of the spirit-wandering realm? Hearing Xiao Yan's voice, Tang Feng's expression changed slightly, his face turning somewhat grim. Before heading to the cave, he had thoroughly investigated Xiao Yan's background, but the intel had never mentioned Xiao Yan's soul power in the spirit-wandering realm. The soul power of the spirit-wandering realm was enough to overwhelm Tang Feng single-handedly. Same goes for you. Hand over the burning technique and the sacred flames within you, and perhaps I'll leave your body intact. A cold glint flashed in Tang Feng's eyes as his body straightened suddenly, a terrifying aura surging forth like a flood. The immense pressure from his aura caused the entire world to be swept by violent winds, and strange lightning and thunder filled the skies above. The entire world was, of course, a spatial formation crafted by Xiao Yan's soul and spiritual power. When Tang Feng's oppressive aura came, Xiao Yan, deep within the formation controlling it, trembled slightly. Tang Feng's strength, in truth, posed no real threat to Xiao Yan. However, this man was the strongest of the vassal races at the heart of the human realm. He definitely wouldn't have come unprepared. I, the lord of this domain, have killed even the strongest of the human realm's central figures. A mere vassal race member of the human realm center? If he dies, so be it. As Xiao Yan's words finished, every mountain in the world shattered in an instant, flames and soul power coalescing into towering shackles, enveloping Tang Feng in an airtight grip. The clash of soul and spiritual forces against the shackles resonated with a deep hum, echoing throughout the entire formation space. Overestimating yourself. Seeing that Xiao Yan hadn't shown himself, Tang Feng's face twisted with mockery. A silver spear appeared out of thin air in his hand, and he slowly stepped into the void. A mighty reincarnation power enveloped the silver spear, its tip aimed directly at the towering shackles. Whir! With a thought from Xiao Yan, countless energy shackles rained down like a meteor shower, hurtling toward Tang Feng. Is this all you've got? Facing the barrage of energy shackles, Tang Feng's voice sounded cold, and a wild, unyielding ferocity surged in his eyes. Boom! Tang Feng's silver spear flashed, slamming into the oncoming energy shackles. The powerful wave of energy shattered the surrounding formation space, cracking it open. The wrath of the sacred flame. In an instant, all the shackles were annihilated by Tang Feng. Immediately after, Xiao Yan's energy surged again. In the center of the formation space, a fireball appeared, its size reaching up to 100 feet. The fireball was without any other embellishments. 6 different colored flames interwoven upon its surface, and the entire formation space grew eerily quiet. Boom! The sacred flame fireball fell like a meteor, carrying with it a devastating aura that surged towards Tang Feng. Wherever it passed, the void hummed and trembled, as though everything had lost its color. Gulp! In that instant, seeing such a formidable attack, Tang Feng's pupils constricted violently, a sense of dread washing over him. The combined attack of 6 sacred flames was still a tremendous force, especially considering he was trapped within the formation space, further suppressed by Xiao Yan's soul power. To face it head-on would be like striking a rock with an egg. Heavenly Shin Slash. Tang Feng sneered, and the silver spear in his hand seemed to come to life. Endless silver energy poured out, forming a long river of space that spread before him. Break for me. Within the space river, enormous forces gathered, and space power was pushed to its limit. A terrifying force, capable of tearing apart space itself, surged toward the fireball. Boom! A slight scraping sound rang out as a series of incredible energy ripples radiated from the epicenter of the battle. The scorching waves of destruction spread, and anyone caught in them would surely be severely wounded or even killed. This guy's power is no joke. It looks like I'll have to retreat for now. The top priority for this mission is to obtain the Heavenly Tao Reincarnation Flame. I can't waste any more time here. After the clash, Tang Feng realized that Xiao Yan's strength and combat ability were even more formidable than the rumors had suggested. Now that the fragment of the map is in hand, there is naturally no need to engage in a life-and-death struggle with Xiao Yan. Once the sacred flame is obtained, there are countless ways to torment Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan, I won't play with you any longer. I hope you manage to enter the main hall of the Six Paths Reincarnation Immortal. I'll go ahead first. Boom. As soon as the words left his mouth, a delicate silver scroll materialized in Tang Feng's palm. Not good. A divine technique-level spatial scroll. The moment the silver scroll appeared, Xiao Yan, who was outside, suddenly gasped in disbelief. Crack! With a light squeeze, Tang Feng crushed the scroll. Countless glowing particles flickered and instantly enveloped Tang Feng's body. A light aperture the size of a palm appeared in the formation space, and in the blink of an eye, Tang Feng's figure vanished without a trace. Damn it! With Tang Feng's disappearance, Xiao Yan finally rose from an open space in the palace complex, a look of regret filling his eyes. 2 fragments of the map, one for each of them.